I spent the first 6 years of my fitness journey working out super hard in the gym 6 days a week, hitting all my protein, tracking all my macros, and for all that effort, I had what I felt like were very mediocre results. Don't get me wrong, it's not like I looked terrible, but I definitely was confused why I did not have an insane physique for the amount of effort that I was putting in. Fast forward to now, and I finally do have my dream toned body that I was trying so hard to get back then. But what's even better than actually having my dream body is how much easier it has been to get them. I am eating so much more food than I ever imagined, with lots of flexibility, having cheat meals every week, vacations every year, and working out way less than I ever did before to finally get the results I always wanted. And this isn't a method I have only used for myself and doesn't work for anybody else. It's also exactly what I have taught over 500 women of all different ages and backgrounds on how to lose fat, add sexy muscle tone, and build a body they are obsessed with that they can maintain year-round for life with ease. So over this decade on my fitness journey, I have realized there are 3 key pillars you must implement to finally get the toned, shapely, sexy hourglass body you have always wanted and to be able to maintain it for good. So that's exactly what I'm gonna break down in today's video. So let's get into it. Okay, before I break down what the 3 steps are, the 3 key pillars are that you need to implement to get your dream results once and for all, I am going to give you a little background information because you need to understand this, otherwise there is no point to anything else that I'm gonna say. So I can pretty much guarantee the #1 reason why you are not getting the toned, sexy, defined body you are trying so hard to get, you're eating healthy, working out consistently, but just not seeing the definition you want, is because you are only trying to lose body fat. You are always in a fat loss obsessed craze, always eating low calorie, always eating low carb, and exercising a ton. And sure, this might make you lose a little bit of weight on the scale, this might make you a little bit smaller, but it's not making you shapely, sexy, toned, and defined the way that you really want to be. And that is because to get that outcome, you need to realize that it's not just about losing fat, it is also about gaining plenty of muscle. Yes, a sexy, feminine, goddess hourglass body is a muscular female body. It's not the same as like a jacked, muscular man's body because we are different. But the tone, the shape, the tight definition you want to have is going to come from you gaining a lot more muscle than you have right now. And yes, you do also need to take fat off your body, but it is the combination of the two. If you only focus on fat loss, what you're going to do is you're going to maybe lose weight, you're going to lose fat, but you're not going to have anything underneath to show. So this is what happens literally all the time, and it's what I was also doing. Again, the first 6 years of my fitness journey, I was trying super hard to shape and tone my body, get that sexy hourglass feminine physique, and like I said, I looked okay, but the reason I was not getting my dream results is because I thought all you needed to do was lose more body fat. So that's what I was always trying to do. I was exercising a ton, and I was always aiming for a calorie deficit because just like you probably are, I was so brainwashed to think that all it took was being in a calorie deficit for a super long period of time, and as so long as the fat came off, I would love my body. But instead, I ended up feeling just kind of mushy, soft, and flabby instead of snatched, toned, and defined. And it wasn't until I learned what it really took to gain muscle and that I focused way more on gaining muscle than just losing body fat that I finally got the sexy, toned hourglass body I always wanted. And like I said, I have helped so many other women with this. For example, take my client Casey here. When she first came to me, she was trying so hard to lose weight, literally going for runs every single day, always on a diet, always restricting her food intake, and she just felt like nothing was working for her. And that was when I taught her that she needed to stop thinking just about weight loss and she needed to actually focus on building muscle and getting strong, and that was what was going to change her body for good. And boom, she not only lost 20 pounds working with me one-to-one by me teaching her how to eat enough food to build muscle, how to train smarter instead of harder, how to actually get confident in the gym lifting weights to build that muscle, but she actually look so much more toned, so much more lean, defined, and strong, which is what you actually want, right? You don't just want to get smaller but still be flabby, soft, and mushy. You want to have that tight, defined, strong looking, sexy body. And the way that you're going to get it is adding more muscle and not just fixating on fat loss. Okay, now that you know that, now let's get into what are the 3 key pillars that you actually need to implement to have that body recomposition, aka changing the source of weight on your body. So taking fat off, putting muscle on. The very first step you need to do is we need to implement a reverse diet so that you're going to speed up your metabolism and actually build some muscle tone, muscle definition, finally start looking the way you want, and also see some initial fat loss at the same time. So a reverse diet, if you don't know about it, is where you intentionally eat more and more food bit by bit. And the reason that you would do this is because you are essentially increasing your body's maintenance level calories. Because believe it or not, your body will actually adapt and get used to eating more food and start burning more calories 24/7, the same way that it does when you slash your calories and after a while your body plateaus and is not losing any more weight because it's adapted to the low calories as well. Now, I know that this is always kind of a mind F for a lot of women to hear because they're like, what do you mean? I want to lose fat. Why on earth would I be increasing my calories? Don't I just need a calorie deficit? And as long as I lose the fat, I'm going to have my dream body. Well, hopefully after you just heard everything that I shared at the start of the video, you understand why that doesn't make sense. And let me illustrate it with a couple client examples. This is our client Kate, who is only 5'2", 48 years old, and this is a transformation we have gotten her with our one-to-one coaching in just 4 months of working together, and we have only done a reverse diet. We have not done any calorie deficit whatsoever. So Kate was your typical woman who felt like she was putting in so much effort, doing the right things, but really not seeing that much in terms of results. And again, it's not like she looked terrible. It's not like she was big and overweight, but she definitely felt sort of flabby and not very defined and shapely despite all her effort. So she was already tracking macros. She was already eating enough protein. She was already lifting challenging weights 4 days a week. So the only changes that we implemented was to start feeding her more food, to implement this reverse diet. And now over the course of 4 months, we have gone from 1,600 calories a day up to 2,350 calories a day. This is for a 48-year-old woman who's only 5'2", and over the course of 4 months, she's gotten so much more toned and defined. You can see how much smoother her skin is, how much more tight and snatched and defined she is, and that is because she has been eating enough food so that she has actually had the building blocks her body needs to build muscle. Because here's the thing, since we know muscle is the thing that's going to make you look toned and defined, if you are always eating low calorie and especially also eating low carb, that means your body does not have the resources to build any muscle with. So this is why you actually need to bring your food up gradually so your body's going to actually have the resources to create some new muscle tissue with. And as you put the muscle on your body's also starting to burn more calories 24/7 because more muscle means faster metabolism. So this is how via the reverse diet, you start to already see that initial body recomposition, the fat coming off, muscle tone coming on, and a faster metabolism so you can actually maintain the results. And she's also lost 6 pounds in this before and after. Not that that really matters, but isn't that insane that she was actually able to lose weight going up over 750 calories over the course of 4 months. And this hasn't only worked with her. I have also taken so many clients only through a reverse diet before. I never, ever, ever took them through a fat loss phase, took them through a cut, and they still got so much more lean, so much more toned and defined than they'd ever been before. Okay, so that is step 1. You need to do a reverse diet. And I'm not going to get too into the nitty-gritty of exactly how you do it in this video, but I have made a very extensive video that breaks down exactly how to do it. So I will link it here and in the description below. But of course, if you want to make sure that you're doing this as high quality, as perfectly as you possibly can for the most optimal results, that is also why we have an online one-to-one high quality coaching program where we're going to take you through this entire process of exactly how to increase your food, how much to be eating of what different foods, and also going to work on your training, review your form, and make sure that you're getting the most you can out of your workouts to look and feel your best ever and be able to easily maintain it. So if you don't want to have to guess and wonder on your own, if you just want to be told exactly what to do and have your hand held through the entire process, then click on the link in the description, fill out an application. I'd love to chat with you and see if you'd be a good fit for our one-to-one coaching. Okay, so now the second step to building your dream tone body and being able to keep it for good is after you have done a successful reverse diet, you are most likely going to do some amount of a calorie deficit. So now let me explain, because I know I was kind of just saying like you don't need to rush into a calorie deficit, or you don't need a calorie deficit even at all to start to see changes in your body. And that is true, because a lot of the time, just the reverse diet alone is already going to start to create so much change for your body. But since your dream body is a combination of more muscle as well as keeping a low body fat percentage, there is going to come a time where it's going to make sense for you to have an actual dedicated fat loss phase where you actually do go into a calorie deficit, so you can really finalize trimming down the last little bits of fluff and flab that you don't want, and reveal all the sexy muscle definition underneath that you wouldn't have had, by the way, if you had never done your reverse diet and never focused on the muscle building phase, which again is where most women are stuck, and where I used to be stuck too, in that skinny fat body, because you're only ever eating low calorie and only ever trying to be in a calorie deficit, which means you're not actually giving your body the resources it needs to ever build any muscle, which is why you get skinnier but you're still flabby, because you haven't built the muscle underneath the body fat. So the real kind of map and path to success is doing an initial reverse diet, then doing a specific dedicated phase of fat loss, and then once again doing a reverse diet to get out of your fat loss phase, so you can maintain the results you achieved in your fat loss, but be able to once again maintain it at a higher calorie intake with a fast metabolism, so you're going to enjoy your results forever, instead of getting in the trap that so many people do, which is they do some sort of extreme diet, extreme calorie deficit, and then as soon as they stop, they just gain everything back, which is what we don't want. Okay, so let me illustrate this with my client Karen, who went through this exact journey with me. So when she first came into the program, she was already a very active person, exercising all the time, but she was just feeling puffier, bigger than she had been in a while. So even though she was already eating a good amount of food, she was eating over 2,000 calories a day, we still did at least a short reverse diet, because honestly, everybody should. You should at least give yourself a small period of time to get the right ratios of food going for your body, which is your macro split. So just because you're eating enough food in terms of total calories, if you're not happy with your physique, chances are you are not eating the right ratio of food, so the right amount of protein, fats, and carbs. So even if you were to just start doing that, and you were also to start focusing on good quality training, good quality workouts, which we're gonna get to in a second, that alone would already start to make a bit of a difference for you. So with Karen, we spent about 1 month just getting the right macro ratios, starting to focus on good quality lifting as well, and then just to get the fat off, because she was in a good enough spot to already go into that deficit, we spent 4 months where initially we just dropped to 1,800 calories, and honestly we were able to stay there for a while. The weight was coming off no problem, and then finally she was plateauing a little bit, so we did one final drop down to 1,700 calories a day, and over the course of 4 months, that was all she needed to do to be able to lose 20 pounds. So now here is the really crazy part. We have since been doing a second reverse diet, because like I said, in order to maintain the results you got in your deficit and be able to actually maintain them sustainably, you need to do another reverse diet to bring your metabolism back up, to get your body conditioned once again to eating more food, so you can enjoy the fat loss success you had at a higher calorie intake and maintain those results all the time. So that is what I'm now doing with her. We're still in this reverse diet process, and now she has gone all the way up to 2150 calories a day. And by the way, she's also only 4'11", 45 years old, you know, this perimenopause age that so many women think means they cannot get results. Trust me, it's not that you can't get results, you're just not eating enough and you're not focused enough on muscle gain. That is why you're stuck. And so here's the crazy part. Since we have been actually doing this second reverse diet, she's lost even more weight. You can see in her chart here where she ended her first cut, and then we kind of sustained the weight loss at first, but then as we kept bringing calories up, she's actually continued to hit some new lows for a total of 24 pounds down over the course of 6 months of one-to-one coaching with me. And the reason that would happen is because, again, as you're giving your body more food, metabolism is picking up, you're able to build more muscle, so metabolism is picking up once again, and that's why you can be eating more food and actually losing weight from it. But most importantly is the fact that she not only lost the weight, but obviously she looks super toned and super defined underneath the body fat that she lost, because we've also been focusing on eating enough and focusing on gaining that muscle, not just taking weight off and having nothing to show underneath. Okay, and then the third and final pillar to building your dream body for good is going from exercising all the time without any real plan or any intention behind it to actually training properly with the intention to build muscle. There is a big difference between doing whatever kind of workout plan versus really knowing what you need to do in the gym or with your weights at home to create that muscle definition you want to see. Now, I cannot tell you how many women come to me saying, I don't need help with a workout plan because I already have one that I follow 4 or 5 days a week consistently, but I don't have my dream body, so it must only be my nutrition. I'm sorry to break it to you, babe, and I've also been there, so I do understand the disconnect that you're having, but trust me, if you are working out consistently and you eat decently overall, but you are still so far away from your dream toned body, it is not just your nutrition that is preventing you. It is literally the workouts that you are doing that is building your body. So if you are not seeing your body being built the way that you want to, it's not just nutrition, it is the two of them together because the two go hand in hand. And this is where, again, the reverse diet ends up working so well, is because you need to bring food up so that you have enough resources for your body to use to actually train hard in the gym in the first place, to do the exercises you need to do in the first place that's going to create a stimulus on your muscles, which is going to tell your body that they need to grow. So if you're not eating enough, you are not going to be able to train hard in the first place and actually really push your muscles and give them a reason to grow. But also, if you're not eating enough, you're not going to have the resources your body needs to create any new tissue with, aka the muscle tissue that you don't have right now, which is why you don't look toned and shapely. And then the fact that you're putting on more muscle, you're speeding up your metabolism, which is taking fat off and it's making you look more toned. And it's this beautiful circle where eating more is actually getting you better results and allowing you to maintain it with ease because you're also training properly. The two go hand in hand. So I'm going to illustrate this with my client, Bethany, who is such a good example of this. When she first came to me, she was only eating about 1,500 calories a day and working out 5 days a week, but she was just kind of doing whatever random workouts, you know, no real plan, just working out at home with some light dumbbells. And she was like, I don't understand why I'm stuck with this mom pooch, why all my effort is not actually translating into me having my dream body. So I told her, girl, first of all, we're gonna do a reverse diet, but we're also gonna get you actually training properly. So I encouraged her to go to an actual gym so she could have access to all of the challenging weights, all the different equipment. And I was like, instead of working out 5 days a week, we're only gonna do 4 days because it's not about quality, it is about quantity. So I taught her how to properly lift weights, how to do the right exercises, and most importantly, how to actually improve at what she did. So a huge part of my coaching is that my clients send in exercise form videos so I can see the execution of how they're doing their exercises. Because trust me, it is not enough just to have a plan, because it is how you execute that plan that is going to determine the results you get. And there's a lot more to it than just lift heavy and progressively overload. I mean, yes, you do want to do those things too, but there's so much more nuance that goes into it. And by reviewing the exercise form videos, I'm able to give my clients so much ongoing real-time feedback so they can make the little tweaks they need to make that's going to allow them to way more directly target their muscles, overload and stimulate them so that they're going to end up looking really toned, snatch defined, and actually have the hourglass body they have always wanted. Okay, so when I say how to train and lift weights properly, what do I really mean by that? Well, in my opinion, there's kind of 3 categories you need to focus on. The first being the reps you are executing are actually good quality, controlled reps with a good tempo, meaning you are not rushing through your reps, you're not swinging the weight around, you are doing it in a slow, controlled way, which you can see with my step-ups here. You can see that I'm coming up all the way, and when I am descending, I am taking my time, going nice, slow, and controlled, and I'm gently pushing back up off the ground to go into my next reps. So you can see that these reps are not sloppy. It is the way you execute your reps that really matter a lot. The other category to think about is your range of motion. So again, a lot of people who are kind of just doing whatever and being sloppy and rushed with their reps, they're also not executing the entire movement the way that they should be. So for example, with a hack squat, that you are really squatting almost all the way down and then pushing back up instead of only maybe doing about half of the rep, which is something that I see a lot of people doing. Or with a hip thrust, that a lot of people are not actually getting that full lockout at the top where your abs and knees are in one straight line and your glutes are completely overloaded and stimulated. that is when you're really gonna have the booty growth. Versus you could be doing a heavier hip thrust, but if you weren't completely locking out at the top, you are missing out on the booty gains because you're not actually targeting your muscles the way that you're supposed to be. And the last category, and this is by far the most important, is your actual effort and intensity that you bring to your sets. I cannot tell you how many women are not really challenging themselves with the workouts that they're doing. They're just kind of going through the motions and ticking the boxes, but they're not making every single rep and every single set count. That is the way you need to look at it. You need to show up hungry to actually give your muscles a reason to grow and push them to their max. So this is the art of lifting to build muscle. It is this delicate balance of having quality controlled reps, good form, good tempo, good range of motion, but then at the same time pushing yourself to pretty much your absolute limit and being able to balance those two things together. So it's when you lift like that combined with eating enough and knowing when and how to cycle through the different phases that are more so focused on muscle gain versus focused on fat loss. That is when you're gonna build the sexy, toned hourglass body of your dreams and be able to maintain it with ease because you have such a lightning fast metabolism because you are eating so much food. All right, ladies, so that is how you do it. So if you don't wanna have to figure this all out on your own, if you want to be guided through how to lift better, how to make sure your execution is spot on, what to be doing in the gym, what to be doing with your food, how to know when and by how much to be increasing versus decreasing your food, that's exactly what we do inside of our one-to-one online coaching program, where we get you an insane transformation, get you to stop spinning your wheels feeling like you're putting in so much effort with nothing to show. So if you're ready to have that level of results, then click on the link in the description, fill out an application. I'd love to chat with you and see if you'd be a good fit for our one-to-one coaching program. All right, babes, thank you so much for checking out this video. I will see you in the next one. And I think that YouTube thinks that this video here is a good suggestion for you to watch next. So I'll see you there.